Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole and welcome to Monetary Makeup. Today we are testing out some new products from Milk Makeup, which are the brand new Pore Eclipse Mattifying Primer, the new Brightening Under Eye Sunshine Concealer, and I'll be using one of my favorite skin tints of all time, which is the Reformulated Sunshine Skin Tint SPF 30. And while I review these new products from Milk Makeup, the topic of the day is going to be, what does the term Ebitda mean? So if you're excited to get started and enjoy the video while you're watching, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and let's get started right now. So first, let's go over a couple of quick details about these new products. So the first product isn't necessarily new per se. So this is the Sunshine Milk Makeup SPF Skin Tint. However, it has been reformulated, which now includes SPF 30. Now you get 0.7 ounces, and this retails for $42 US, or you can purchase one of the refillable cartridges, and that retails for $32 US. Next is the new Sunshine Under Eye Brightening Concealer, and in this tube you get 0.2 ounces, and this retails for $28 US, or you can purchase one of the refillable cartridges, and that retails for $24 US. And next is the new Pore Eclipse Mattifying Primer. So in the mini version, you get 0.68 ounces, and this retails for $18 US. Or you can purchase the large size, and in that tube contains 1.35 ounces, and that retails for $36 US. So let's first get started with primer. Now I'm in my mid-30s and I have oily, dehydrated, acne-prone skin, and I'm also starting to get those fine lines near the eye area, so I'm really excited to test out this primer just to see if it dries out the skin or mattifies with the balance. Alright, so as of right now, I have nothing on my skin, just SPF and moisturizer, and I of course have my brows done. So here's what this primer looks like coming out of the tube. So as you can see, it does come out white. But once you blend it in, that white goes away and it does become translucent. Alright, so let's apply a little bit of this primer to the right side of my skin and no primer on the left. That way we can see at the end of the day if there is a difference. So I just picked up a little bit of product out of the tube, and I'm just going to really focus this on the T-zone. Now this product does have kind of a citrusy orange scent, and I do find it does dissipate pretty quickly, but just in case you're sensitive to fragrance, I definitely do smell that. So I just brought you all in a little bit closer, that way you can see no primer versus primer. Now just taking a look at my skin after it has had a chance to sink in, I would say this primer definitely does have a smoothing effect. However, I do have quite a bit of large pores in the T-zone, and I can definitely still see those pores on my nose and my cheek. So as far as the pore filling qualities, I wouldn't say it does a great job, at least at my initial impression. Alright, so next let's move on to the Reformulated Milk Sunshine SPF Skin Tint. Now I do want to mention I do have quite sensitive skin, especially when it comes to SPF in foundations or skin tints, but I do find that I do not break out from this product at all, so just wanted to mention that I haven't broken out from it. Now in both the skin tint as well as the under eye brightening concealer, I do have the first shade. Now the shade in the skin tint is called Fairer, and I'm trying to remember what the shade of the under eye concealer is. I think it's also called shade Fair. If not, it's the first shade called shade 1. Now even though I'm a huge fan of this formula, I cannot stand the packaging. And that's because basically how this product is dispensed, you have to click this button and then it comes out in this roller ball. So you could definitely swipe this on the skin. However, my preferred method of application is just taking my damp sponge on this. I don't know if it does anything as far as the antibacterial factor, but it just makes me feel better applying it this way. Alright, so let's do the side without primer first. And you could definitely use this product with your fingers, but I just prefer to use a damp sponge. Now I always have a ton of redness on my skin. Not only do I have a very fair to light cool undertone, but I also have quite a bit of surface redness, and some of that is caused from active breakouts. I do find it blends out pretty quickly though, and it looks beautiful over texture, which you will see in just a minute here. So I have a little bit of redness right here, and I would say this is a sheer to light formula. However, I do find you can apply 2 layers, and I would say that's more on the light to medium coverage, so you can certainly build it up. And lastly, this product also has that citrus orangey scent, so it does dissipate, but you definitely do smell it upon application. All right, so skin tint on the left side, nothing on this side. So this is what the product looks like when it sits on the skin. So you can definitely still see some of my redness and blemishes peeking through. But the reason I love this product is because I feel like it just gives your skin an overall balance and healthy glow. All right, one more click for the other side. So I'm pretty excited to see how this skin tint sits on top of that mattifying primer, since we're using a dewy skin tint or a glowy skin tint and the mattifying primer. Just curious if it's going to tone down the glow or not make much of a difference. All right, so I just finished blending out the skin tint. So a couple of things I wanted to note. I would definitely say that this side just overall looks smoother. And also, where I was trying to build the coverage on some of the red areas that I have, I felt like the primer was really helping the skin tint grip better. And also, I'm not really seeing my pores minimize very much, maybe a little bit, but what do you guys think about the pores and how the skin is looking? And since I have bangs, I don't really apply too much makeup to the forehead anymore. Just seems like kind of a waste, so I'm just taking whatever's left on my sponge and just kind of gently going over. Now, a little trick that I do to help to clean the roller ball once I'm finished applying the product, I wouldn't say it sanitizes it by any means, but I just take a paper towel, just kind of go over, that way it gets off any excess product. All right, I am so excited to test out the new Brightening Under Eye Concealer from this line, just because I love the skin tint so much, so let's see if this does as good as the tint. Now, unfortunately, it does have the same packaging, or at least similar packaging, just in a different shape, so it unfortunately does have the same rollerball design. So I'm going to use the same application method where I take a damp sponge and just pick up a little bit of product to get started. All right, let's do the left eye first. Wow, did you see how quick that blended out? I'm going to pick up just a little bit more. Now, even though these have a more neutral undertone, I feel like I can get away with them. So this is kind of interesting. I feel like the concealer has just a hair more coverage than the skin tint. What do you guys think? No concealer, concealer? All right, let's get the other side on. Yeah, and this also has that citrusy orangey scent. I'm just taking a little bit of concealer down where I get redness. Yeah, I feel like this is covering up the redness just a little bit more than the tint, but don't get me wrong, I love that skin tint, but just a matter of preference for how much coverage you prefer. All right, you guys, we are super zoomed in just so that way you can see what my skin and texture is looking like after applying these 2 products, or 3 products, I should say. So this was the side that I applied the new Eclipse primer, no primer on this side. So what do you guys think? Now, I quite enjoy how the under eyes are looking right now. I would definitely say this is a very light coverage, so it is not going to be comparable to Shape Tape or anything like that, but if you prefer a light coverage concealer, I think this is looking pretty nice. All right, I'm going to finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I will see you in a second for the topic of the day. Welcome to the topic of the day. So what the heck is the term Ebitda? Now, I've heard it pronounced Ebitda, but it is spelled Ebitda. So keep in mind, all of my topic of the days are not legal or financial advice. This is just meant for us to broaden our horizon for financial or general knowledge. So in layman's terms, Ebitda just basically is a way to measure a business's overall performance of operations. So Ebitda is actually an acronym, and a difficult one to remember at that. So what it stands for is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Now keep in mind, Ebitda can be misrepresented, and this is because Ebitda does not include all of your assets such as capital gains, properties, things of that nature. But it is a generic way to measure profitability. So when is Ebitda actually used? So I've actually heard of banks using Ebitda as a way to measure whether a business will be able to repay a debt or a loan. but it also can be used to compare similar types of businesses in respect to financial investments. So for example, someone might choose to look at a business's Ebitda to determine whether or not they want to invest in Walmart or Target. So once again, it is just a generic way to measure a business's overall profitability, but keep in mind this does not include every single asset or capital investments at that. Now there is actually a formula to calculating Ebitda. I'm not going to go into this today, but I did just want to mention it in case you're interested in looking at different types of stocks or bonds to invest in the market. So I hope you learned something new for today's topic of the day. Next, let's get into the wear test and my final thoughts. Hi everybody, I just got home from work and my makeup has been on now just over 6 hours. I am going to have to do the final check-in right now because I do have a doctor appointment later on tonight, but I feel like 6 hours is still a pretty good amount of time to do a check-in. And I am so happy that we still have sunlight out. In Michigan, we really don't get too much, so I will take all the sunlight I can get. So let's take a look at how my skin is looking. And I apologize if you can hear any echo or anything like that. There's just so much traffic outside right now because it's rush hour time, so I don't think you'd be able to hear me outside. And I wanted to show you in natural daylight what my skin is looking like. So if you could remember, this is the side I had applied the primer, and this is the side I did not. So do you guys see any sort of a difference? So I did look in the mirror before I jumped on camera really quick, and I have to say I'm really not noticing any sort of a difference. I do feel like when I first applied the primer, this side did look smoother, but now that it's been just over 6 hours, I'm really not seeing any sort of a difference, but you guys are gonna have to let me know what you see. Now, I already know I love the Milk Sunshine Tint, so that was already a given. But as far as the Under Eye Sunshine Concealer that I had just tried for the first time, what do you guys think about how that is looking underneath the eyes? So I'm actually pretty impressed. I'm really not seeing too much creasing. Usually I get a little bit kind of right in that area. Now keep in mind it is light coverage, so I didn't cake on any sort of amount of product or anything like that, but overall, I feel like that concealer held up pretty well. So I would absolutely repurchase the Milk Skin Tint as well as the Under Eye Brightening Concealer, but as far as a primer, probably wouldn't repurchase that again. All right, well now I want to hear from all of you guys. Have you tried out this new Milk Primer? Have you tried out the Reformulated Skin Tint or the Under Eye Concealer? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. All right, well, I do hope you all enjoyed the topic of the day as well as the review and wear test of these new Milk products. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, guys.